Welcome, everybody. John Zager. How are you all? Let's see. It's Monday morning. Yay, Monday morning. What time is it anyway here? It's about 10 to 10, I guess. A little late for me getting started with this. But a little cloudy out. Very little. Not a whole lot. Almost kind of overcast in some areas. The rain's gone. The lake looks great this morning, nice and quiet and still. I see a couple fish jumping. The temperature today, I think, is supposed to get up in the 70s or thereabouts. Pretty comfortable. So I got pretty early. I got up pretty early and started back around 4:30, and have just caught up with things now, and thought I would get my podcast done for the day, then do a walking meditation, and I still haven't done my blog. I had other things going on earlier. But today's topic is kind of a fun one. It isn't going to be very long. For me, it's not going to be very long at all. But you hear a lot about we need to have a wake-up call before we decide to make some significant changes. And of course that refers to, do you have to have a trauma, a tragedy, diagnosis, a disease, a wake-up call, something traumatic before you decide to take some steps to work a program and self-heal. Pretty simple, right? Yeah. Oh, by the way, I have a new, what do they call these things? Earbuds? You plug into your phone. I really like it a lot. I don't know if the quality of the sound is any good or not. This is the first podcast I'm doing. There's a fish that just jumped. And we're going to try it out today. If the quality of the sound is just terrible, I'll throw them in the dumpster. But I'm going to be kind of positive, and I like them, and they have good vibes. So we're going to try them out today. Bear with it. If it's just terrible, we won't use them again. But so it's it's back when I was doing stuff. Do you have to have a toothache before you go to the dentist? Will you go just to have your teeth cleaned? There's nothing wrong. Preventative dentistry, right? Well, the topic today is you don't need to have a wake-up call to be healthy and well and sustain good health. You don't need to attract a disease, a trauma, a diagnosis, an occurrence of any kind that's tragic, and then work on a program of healing. And I've kind of watched and interviewed some people in all my years of doing psychology. And I've noticed that there are people who are pretty darn healthy. Not 100%, but they're pretty darn healthy. And they're not showing up in the clinic to get some counseling as a result of a significant trauma event, occurrence, something negative. They're not showing up for that reason. You understand? they're showing up because I'm going to turn the car on, you guys, so bear in mind it'll only make a little bit of noise for just a short period of time. But so what they're doing is they're showing up for some counseling over a very specific thing that they just want to address before it gets out of control. That makes sense? That makes good sense. And those are great clients to have because they're motivated. They're motivated and they're determined that they're going to stay healthy. They're not going to attract disease. Okay? That's back when I was doing clinical stuff. Ran into those people more often than you would imagine. There's always the people who reluctantly show up because they have to. But I'm talking about there are people who don't have a wake-up call and just are concerned enough about an issue or an event in their life that they would like to do some preventative stuff to stay healthy. Okay. So, since I've been out of the clinical stuff, I've continued to observe and talk and interview with people, both sides of that coin. The people who are having to do stuff as a result of a negative event or occurrence. And then there are the people that seem pretty happy, seem pretty healthy, and they have things going on in their life, maybe past, maybe current, that to some people might be rather significant and a wake-up call. To these people, it's like, well, this has kind of become an issue for me, and I just think it's important that I address it. And, I need to find somebody to just process these feelings and emotions and stuff. Boy, the fish are really jumping, you guys. They're all over the place. We must have a good bug hatch. So an example is a little lady that I know who came from an extremely abusive alcoholic family. And her dad is no longer alive. Like 5 years ago. Died tragically. And she has just gone on with her life and her career. She has a daughter. And, the mom's around. And, of course, this little gal has a career of her own and has worked up into management and doing very well. And is always just happy and seems very comfortable with who she is and where she's going. And she clearly has goals, short-term, long-term. But she's also aware of some emotional stuff that occurred in the past. Okay? So her approach is not to allow that to become a trauma to eventually produce a disease diagnosis, all that kind of negative stuff. But rather, her approach has been, I need to talk about this stuff from time to time as it comes up, and gets my emotions sort of out of whack. And she will approach friends of hers and chat about it. She's not going to professional counseling, but she's taking care of it little bits at a time by just being able to express the emotions that come up as a result of her earlier childhood and growing up in that family. Real healthy, real healthy. Again, doesn't need a wake-up call. Is fully aware of the consequences of where she came from and how they could turn into a tragic situation for her. And again, she has no issues around addiction, alcoholism, drugs, stuff like that, compulsive disorders. You would think, well, maybe she does, and she doesn't. If you come from an alcoholic family, doesn't mean you're going to be alcoholic. Contrary to what old school of thought was, if you come from an alcoholic family, you're going to be alcoholic, or you're going to be compulsive disordered. In other words, you're going to have some other behavior that's compulsive and addictive behavior. Not true. Not true. Because if you don't buy the whole model while you're growing up around addiction, there's no reason for you to have an addiction when you grow up. It's the same thing as, the diabetes we talk to, or cardiovascular disease, or cancers, or that kind of thing. I mean, you either buy the whole thing, the belief systems, or you don't. If you don't believe you're going to be an alcoholic or have compulsive disorders as a result of growing up in an alcoholic family, you're not. So, but at any rate, we don't have to have a wake-up call because we grew up in an abusive alcoholic family. What it does mean, though, is that it might be in our best interest to seek out people in a healthy fashion to where you can process some of the different feelings and emotions that arise from time to time. Doesn't mean you have to stop your life. Doesn't mean you have to go out and get a disease. Doesn't mean you have to upload negative behavior. Doesn't mean you have to end up in jail. Doesn't mean you have to blah, 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 blah in an unhealthy fashion. You can actually go on with your life in a very healthy fashion and live happily ever after. So what I'm saying is probably contrary to the majority of the people out there listening to this. I would guess that everybody that's hearing me talk this morning has heard the opposite. That, like I had just said a few minutes ago, if you grew up in that type of a family environment, you're going to turn out or have similar traits and personality. And then, as a result of that wake-up call, say you end up in jail or in the emergency room from your alcoholic behavior, then all of a sudden that's your wake-up call to go ahead and get involved in a program and start getting well. And I'm just saying to you, I don't buy that. I don't agree with that. I don't find that true. I don't know. I guess I've been adding up the years, but 69, I think it's like 48 or 49 years I've been involved in this industry of people. And early on, that was the school of thought. That was gospel. That was written in concrete. That's what you taught when you were a counselor or whatever you were, therapist. That if you come from that background, your personality is such, therefore you will turn out that way. Absolutely not true. That's like saying, genetically you're going to be alcoholic because your mother or father was alcoholic and that's their genes and those are your genes and you have the crosshair on your forehead and that's not true. So you don't have to have a wake-up call to go get in a program and self-heal. You can continue to just be healthy and well. You can just continue to be disease-free. You can continue to not upregulate any negative genes or cells. You don't have to change or alter your DNA in a negative way to get a disease. You don't have to change your biology or chemistry and acquire a disease. You can just be well. Follow me on that? That's a big jump, you guys. That's a big, big jump. Not everybody is going to go on board with that one. Not everybody's going to go on board. So, what's another example? Let's use a physical illness. Maybe that translates a little bit better. Young child, female, growing up in a family and the mother has breast cancer. I don't know. And, it's a terribly negative thing to the mom and the treatment and, the doctors and the medication and just the whole saga and illness and sickness and just not good, right? Tragic, sad situation. And the little girl is observing everything, hearing everything, and being modeled everything about. I'm a female in this family, and it appears that breast cancer is a probability. Right? Well, what if the little girl, first of all, you have to look at your DNA as a blueprint, you guys. It's a blueprint. And you need to I have to move just a second. What if the girl decides to not buy that program? What if the girl decides that I'm not going to get breast cancer? It's beliefs and perspectives, right? Perceptions. And environment that change the chemistry, the biology, and can start uploading breast cancer genes, right? And the girl just is determined that, I'm healthy, I'm fun, I'm in high school, I'm having a great time. I don't have anything negative. Terribly, terribly sorry about my mom's sickness, and I was with her, and she's still alive, and it's tragic, but that doesn't have to happen to me, right? Why does she have to have a wake-up call and get those genes upregulated and a tragic diagnosis and then have to get in the program? As opposed to, why can't she just continue to be well and healthy and happy and physically well, and do all the appropriate things, from environment to food to exercise to maybe a program, get some education, some training around, breast cancer? Why does she have to have a wake-up call that's tragic? Why can't she go on and have a great life and all that kind of stuff and just make appropriate, healthy changes that'll keep her well? Never gets breast cancer. You begin to think that, I don't know, the thought goes through my head, a couple thoughts go through my head. One, it has to do with education and personality. This program and counseling in general and therapy in general and it provides education for people to become informed on how to stay well. And that's a great thing. I'm not sure that if you have enough education and training and knowledge, I'm not sure we have to have a wake-up call. Personality is the second thing you begin to start wondering about. Maybe some personalities, again, that's, how you think, act, and feel, you develop that from birth to age 6 or thereabouts. If your personality is such that you're not developing traits that could be harmful in the way that you think, act, and feel, why do you have to have a wake-up call? Why can't you just be well and healthy? Think about what I just said about the personality. That's real important. If you haven't developed traits, right, that would cause some sort of upregulating negative genes, why would you have to have a wake-up call? Why couldn't you just go on with your life and be well and healthy? That makes sense? Yeah, that makes sense. So the takeaway for this morning is go on with your life and just be happy. If you don't have any significant events kind of popping up or whatever, just go on with your life. Continue to be educated around issues that you may have a concern about. Continue to be trained, seek training and guidance, counseling, in areas that, again, that just concern you, If you have concerns about breast cancer, prostate cancer, or personality disorders, or addictions, compulsive disorders, I mean, just stuff that you might have concerns about. Get education and training and some guidance behind that, so that you don't develop start developing traits in your personality that could accentuate you upgrading negative genes. Crystal clear. Crystal clear. Let's not make a problem where there's not a problem, but yet let's be aware of preventative things we can do so that we don't have to have a wake-up call. So it's a beautiful day out today. Sun's actually coming out. What time? Well, it's 55 degrees right now. That's fine. It's supposed to get up another 20 degrees warmer. There's still snow up on the mountains. Looks real pretty from down here. I have a full day today, Monday. I put too much stuff over into Monday, so I'm going to be busy all the way up till the end of the late afternoon, I think. Hope you guys all have a good day. God bless everybody. Take care of one another, and I look forward to talking to you all again real soon. See you. Bye.